G'day YouTube, Warbles E. Knievel here. As you can see, yesterday was spent cobbling up a rack for the bikes or the e-bikes pannier bags, and yeah, this is the rig. I've got 29 kilometres on this so far. I'm now about to go and try and put about 6 kilometres on it, because 29 plus 6 is 35, and that's the same as a trip to town. I started out with 98% battery. After I've done 35 kilometres, I'll charge it up, and then I'll find out how much petrol it takes in the 3000 watt generator to charge up the e-bike after a trip to town, and see what wins, the e-bike or the Forester. So right at the moment, let's go for a 6 kilometre ride. My third time on the bike. Okay, we should be rolling. And ideally, is placed to give you a view of proceedings. And as you can see, it's got a bit of herd. It weighs 68 kilograms. The Discovery weighed 22. I had 5 kilograms of spare batteries on board, so my Discovery probably weighed bloody 27. But yeah, this is 2.5 or 3 times heavier, but it has got 12 times the power, and it can do, well, 45 is what it's supposed to do. I've seen it on an absolutely full battery. It didn't have any trouble getting up to 49 before it backed off to 46 and held it. It does tell you how much battery capacity you've got in percentage. I just set off at 57%. I'm riding pretty slow at the moment to keep the wind noise down, so I've got some possible chance of being picked up. Also, this is the very worst part of the Barilda driveway. This is the bit where they use the worst fill, with the biggest rocks and the smallest, finest, most clay covered or clay mixed stuff. We're coming up to a junction here. This stuff is much more evenly processed and crushed, and it sticks to the ground. That swale over there, it's got all the stuff that fell off the road on top of the hill. And I'm thinking about going there with a shovel and a trailer and shifting it back to the top of the hill. But anyway, as you can see, this thing really does have some grunt, although it's in sport mode, so I got the full 3000 watts. No clutch, no gear stick, nothing like that. Just 2 foot pegs to put your feet on, twist grip throttle, hydraulic brakes, discs front and back, but the brake blocks are the same size as the ones on the Discovery, so I'm going to be going through a few of them. Rated for a maximum weight of 168 kilograms, so seeing as I only weigh about 60, I got a fair bit of spare capacity. You can't actually ride this on dirt down this hill any faster than you can ride the bloody Discovery. But when you get onto the road, yeah. So that's 1 kilometre. I'm looking for about 3, and then I'll come back. So that means we turn right. Might even get to the railway track. Right, now we've only used 20 watt hours per kilometre for that 1 kilometre. And this thing's got regenerative braking, which at the moment is set on 3.5 out of 4 in terms of degree of difficulty. .43 up a hill. .44. We've used 2% of the battery to get here. So by the time you're down to 55%, you can no longer do 49 kilometres an hour. Oh no, 45 on the actual flat. So you might as well say that in the top half of the battery you got a little bit of extra performance. So I say on the third ride. So let's just say it's twice as good on the highway as the e-bike, maybe 3 times, because you're not pedaling your little ass off trying to maintain 25 kilometres an hour. Here you're doing 43 or 44 kilometres an hour when you've used half a battery. We're now on 54%, but when you're going down a hill, whoopsie, looking at the instrument panel to read a tiny little figure that says 38 watt hours per kilometre. 39, and as we roll down this hill, that'll actually probably reduce a bit. Although it's not much of a bloody hill. But the point is, you get a running tally on how many watt hours per kilometre you're using. You've got a trip meter that tells you you've just done 3 kilometres at 37 watt hours per kilometre, right? And at the top of the hill, it was 40 watt hours per kilometre. So A, we're maintaining speed using less power. And if it was a big enough hill and we were rolling hard enough to not use any power, we'd be storing energy. So you can see why I had all kinds of wonderful fantasies about sticking this thing, like buying a spare engine and a spare battery and a spare speed controller and rebuilding the ultralight. There's a solar powered plug-in electric version. So that's about 3.5 kilometres. And there's a driveway up here, so we'll turn around on that. Remembered to put me blinker on, checking in me mirrors. Whole new bloody ball game riding motorbikes on the road. Which is why this thing has got an L plate. 42%, 43 kilometres an hour up the hill into the wind. .38 watt hours per kilometre at the moment, or it was back there at the corner. But to be honest, you're trying to keep your station on the road, check your rear vision mirrors, haven't really got time to look at the friggin' instrument panel too much. So anyway, this is the poor man's Tesla. At the moment I'm running it on a 3000 watt Westinghouse generator. And these 3 test rides are supposed to simulate 1 ride to town and back. Because it's 15 kilometres my place to town. So that gives me 5 k's in town, 30 k's in transit. And this will give me about 36 k's or so. And once I get the new solar gear, this thing won't use petrol at all. And that will be a bloody great day for me. So yeah, a bit of a phase change. Sitting out in the bloody breeze, worrying about getting run over, half the speed of the traffic flow. But with luck, when petrol gets too bloody expensive to burn, ideally after I get the solar power all set up and running, then I should be able to get to town for bread and milk long after I would not be able to afford to drive the car to town. And by that stage, there won't be as many bloody dickheads doing silly things at stupid speeds on the road. .49%, 43 kilometres an hour. 44 watt hours per kilometre. Uphill into what wind there is. And the speedo is a blue arc that starts at the 4 o'clock position and runs clockwise around it. So when you're at the 10 o'clock position, you've got half a blue arc and that's as fast as you can go, sort of thing. So that's 6 k's to here. So yeah, I'm going to finish up with 36 kilometres. 47%, which is 46 kilometre of watt hours per kilometre. But when I gave this thing its maintenance charge, when it came out from under the blue tarpaulin, where it had been since I got it, because when I got it I was still waiting for my new plastic teeth. And my new plastic teeth, well, for a while they were worse than the first lot. It took me a while to get over it. It wasn't until mid-February that I decided that the new teeth were good enough that I could stop drinking to avoid the misery. And when you're on an L plate, you're not allowed to be on the road when you've got any alcohol in your system. And I just did not want to be trying to learn how to ride a motorbike drunk. So I didn't do that. And I haven't had a drink for about a month. And I had the won't power to wait for a month after putting the whiskey bottle away before unwrapping the motorbike. So yeah, the maintenance charge I gave it when I got it had dwindled down to 46%. And we're now sitting on 47. And I charged it up to 98. 1 hour and 35 minutes to go from 46% to 98%. Which might be about yeah, it was exactly 1 litre in the generator. And the car uses 2.5 litres to go to town, so even if I'm using petrol, I'm saving 1.5 litres every time I use this thing to go in and get a loaf of bread and a bottle of milk. So it might be a successful transition for a pensioner on a rock 15 clicks out of town. Certainly to me it made more sense than buying another bloody petrol powered 4-wheel drive 10 years younger than the one I've got. Which was probably all I could have got for $8,000, which is what this thing cost. Registered in my name and delivered in Glendinness, 423 miles north of the capital city where it was put together. And here's the big thing. I'm not in first gear pedaling me little bumhole out trying to get up this hill. I'm spinning the back wheel at 30 kilometres an hour going up the grass. Right? This is what the $8,000 is for. Being able to drive or ride around. I don't know that I'd want to be doing it on a rainy day. Should you play with an electric motorbike on a rainy day? Who knows? And I think the next step up, something that will do 100 kilometres an hour, is about 15 or 20,000 bucks. And whereas this is 68 kilograms, it's about 120 kilograms. And that's sort of beyond my levels of what I find interesting. Okay. .38 kilometres, 17 minutes I had the thing running, average speed 29, maximum speed 45, trip 8 kilometres. Right, so, let's see, what was the bloody battery reading? 44%. Right, there you go. It works, Kimosabi, it works. And I will etch prime the core sample tray covers pop riveted as they are, and then I will paint them black, and I'll leave the bent bars which stop. Yeah, I'll add some cross braces to that to definitively stop the pannier bag from rubbing on the back tyre, although it didn't do it on that ride. And that's about as rough, and it is as fast as the machine is capable of going. So now, oh, what a lovely conundrum. To get the hat off, I've got to take the gloves off. And I've got to take the hat off in order to be able to see the bloody camera. And I can't see the camera to shut it off with the gloves on. So, there you go. And I probably look more or less just fucked, but you know, such is life. Anyway, that's 8 kilometres on my poor man's Tesla. The Talaria Sting L1-e, 2,300 watt hour battery. And I've now used about half of one of them. So, warbles on a lot to YouTube. Toothless recovering zombie. Ciao.